which are confronting Punjabi community here. So they are mostly regarding culture and the things regarding how best to adopt to the changing conditions here, especially cultural and artistic, literary and other worldly affairs. So, because most of the almost the second generation is coming and they are studying here, so they don't know much about when we talk in Punjabi, they cannot understand well, and sometimes they want to know what you were discussing. So, just in order to help them, the new students who don't know much of Punjabi and they are well versed in English. So we are, and for other communities also who don't know Punjabi. So we want to just dwell on cultural issues. So when people come from Punjab, what kind of cultural challenges they have to face here when they come across other cultures, people from other cultures. So there are different issues. So culture, you know that it is a something, it is a way of life, how we spend life, how we what are the system of society, Punjabi society, family system, marriages and other things, entertainment, all these things and what we write and what kind of writing we produce, what kind of pictures we make and what kind of songs we sing. So all these things comprise culture. So my friends on the right side, extreme right, is Mr. Indradeep Singh. So and just by me, he is Professor Nar Singh. So we will together just try to understand and try to explain what kind of challenges we face when Punjabis come here. So they have to come encounter with other people from English people, so and people from other countries. So they are at workplace. So they have to face many challenges. So what kind of challenges they face in the workplace, in the families, and when just going about their business and life. So first of all, I will request Indrajit Singh to tell us what kind of challenges our diaspora, Punjabi diaspora, face here.
When they come in this country?
Yes.
See that whenever you find any Punjabi coming to this country, he has so many challenges to face, especially at the cultural level. When we talk about the culture, it includes his language, his religion, his way of life, the way he lives his life. And since he is coming from, I mean, most of the people are coming these days are from the rural background. So when they come into the ultra-modern cosmopolitan, circumstances or the conditions, their challenges becomes, humongous, huge challenge they have to face, But I mean, as you have started the discussion, I could make out that this is the first or the third generation that we have come here, and as a result, I have seen that culturally, every generation is losing its cultural ground. If a person comes here, he has a challenge that how much cultural space he has to concede. So these are the challenges he has to face. I mean, I know that it's a new liberal world where things are decided at the economic level. Maybe the country has a constitution which ensures that everybody should have equal rights, equal opportunities, and this emphasis on secularism and multiculturalism. But unfortunately, when you come here and when you become part of this juggernaut machine, which is the economic activity of this country, you have to compromise certain things. You have to sacrifice certain essentials of your culture. Like you have to, sometimes it sometimes at the cost of your identity, So the Punjabi who comes, wants to wear turban, wants to have beard, wants to run around in cars with a big loudspeaker and this, throttling songs of Musewala, he has a challenge that how the world around him looks upon him, whether they accept him as such or they want that he should change. In the first generation, the level of conflict is very severe. But as he moves to the second generation, the conflict is reduced. And then in the third generation, I've seen that the cultural issues are no more there. He becomes the part of the main culture. I mean the dominant culture of Canada.
Now we'll like to hear Mr. Nar Singh. Could you kindly tell us what kind of, when the cultural makeup of Punjabi culture and what kind of changes happen here?
Actually, culture is a planning of life from birth to death, how to behave throughout in the society. They have certain norms, there is a certain material realities, there are some certain cultural traditions, mythical world of the people, and that is there. So far the Punjab is concerned, that is basically a peasant society living in villages. So they have the traditions which have a long tradition in centuries long, and they are continuing. After Green Revolution, drastic changes have happened in Punjab also. But when a person from Punjab, or particularly a person like me who come to Canada after 60 years of age, then there is a huge challenge for them. First of all, he confronts a new material reality, new material world, new material mass culture at one level. Second level, there is a language barrier, how he can express himself and how he can interact with the people. That is a big question. So every Punjabi at the age of plus 60 seeks a person who can speak in Punjabi and who can interact with them, and particularly the emotions, the mental world, the intellectual world could be shared only with those persons who belong to the same linguistic stock. So when we go to the other people, we convey only a workable language. That is a workplace language. That is not emotional language. We have our idioms, we have our cultural notions, we have our cultural, you will say, sanskar, sabyatark sanskar, culture, Sanskritic sanskar. But when you go to the other world, then you can convey your ideas, but not emotions. One thing, your eating habits changed, your dress code may be there, but it looks apparently different from the other
people.
And you are identified from the very much from their existence. So when so far the food is concerned, totally there is a change. So such person feels that he is curtailed to. And most of the aged persons say Canada is a mithi jail. It is like a prison in which they are surrounded by them, but it is a sweet, it is not that much harsh because they are living in a family. So when we are in the family, we cope up with those things. But when we are in the bazaar,
we keep our culture intact when we are in the family.
That is the other question. Whether we should keep our culture intact as such, which we have had in our workplace,
different
whether we should mix up with the other culture. When we go to the other, because culture is always in a flow and flux. It is always in
it is going, changing.
So how much you can transform at this stage, that is a big question. In itself, if I want to be a Gora, Angrez, then I can't do it. but you can the things in a process, things in an interrelationship, you change slowly and steadily. But the young generation, the new students
They can
who come to Canada, they have no problem with the food, they have no problem
With
with
language.
the dress code even. Almost they have same.
Same.
And their mental makeup by their studies almost is same. They all belong to the
So it is not difficult them for
it is not so
assimilate
difficult.
them.
So the main problem is that even in my case, I think that my grandson could not understand my idiom. He can understand Punjabi,
But idiom-
if I speak in a
idiom are difficult to
specific
understand.
Punjabi cultural idiom, he will not understand.
Now, Mr. Inderjeet Singh will
I would like to add a few
Yes,
things,
yes.
You know what he has. One thing is that culture is not something static. It's not stale. You know, it's something organic. It keeps on changing every second. You know, this is relevant to, you know,
environment.
the world.
Environment.
So it is not confined to India or to Canada, wherever you go. And as far as the conflict of the culture is concerned, it takes the shape of dialecticism. You know, there is a conflict and resolution. Conflict and resolution.
Yeah.
You know, so when somebody comes here with certain, you know, essentials of his own culture or religion, you know, to this country, you know, there is a dialectical dialogue, there is a dialectical connection with the people who are living here. You know, you lose something, you gain something. Sometimes we say that the young generation is losing its language. No, you haven't fathomed the language he has learned here, the new idiom he has learned here. You just focus on what he has lost. You have never bothered to see what he has gained here. You have. Do you really have a chance to speak to your grandson? You engage a dialogue with him, and he will tell you how many things you do not know. You know, so that's one thing. Another thing which Dr. Nahar Singh has said, that you know, since there is an age of new liberalism, in this age even the cultures have become universal. You go to any country, the process of urbanization, the process of you know, movement from the rural area to the urban areas, and the emergence of or the dominance of multinational corporations have really dominated the scene. Now culture has become culture industry. You know, now everything is, you know, neutral. So you have to go through the same mechanism, because the nature of job, the nature of work is such that you have to adapt yourself to the circumstances where you are placed. Number two, you know, in life, it may be culture, it may be economic life, it may be social life. You have to shed certain items which have become irrelevant if you want to grow in life. Like there are 12 kinds of marriages in Hindu system, but do we really, resort to all those kinds of marriages? You know, so the same thing is, is valid in the case of other religions, other cultures, where the things really exist. You know, they said, I mean, every Muslim person is Muslim gentleman is having four wives. Do we really have four wives with every Muslim? No, that's a myth. You know, so that way, it doesn't mean that somewhere it is mentioned and it is being practiced. No, it is not there. So anything which is not relevant is thrown out as redundant.
It means the culture involved in their native places had some type of historical necessities, out of which they emerged, they take in a shape, they take in a system. But when these native cultures come to a metropolitan cities or in the new liberal economy, new liberal world, it faces challenges, and automatically the things are being changed. This is a human process by which, but
and I must underline this point, that it is not a conscious effort. You know, sometimes there is a pressure from the community that people should learn Punjabi, people should learn English, you know, otherwise this will happen, that will happen. No, you leave it to them, because I mean, you can't determine your culture through your conscious efforts. It becomes only at the superficial level. You know, it doesn't become organic. You know, that's the problem. Even if you teach your kid Punjabi and he doesn't have the grammar and the context of Punjabi language and culture, he will not understand it. He will say so many things about Punjab, but he doesn't know the meaning of it.
It means every word which we speak in a Punjabi language has its history in that cultural context.
Yeah.
When that word is spoken in Canada, then the meaning is same. They maybe find out in dictionary, but the cultural nuances associated with that word are lost.
That's
so
true.
When a person adopts a new culture, not about the children born in Canada, their mother tongue is Canada language, which English, maybe Canadian English. But when they speak Punjabi, then that Punjabi is a formal Punjabi. I will say formal Punjabi, without its cultural nuances which are lost.
Yes.
So when we try to conserve our culture, we try to save ourselves, we try to save our identity, it becomes some type of a hollow system.
Frankly, it's a losing battle.
A
losing battle.
So now we should.
We are not going to win this battle.
But
now what we make.
But it is very interesting at the level of a language. Look, when in England a lady will go to for purchase of vegetable, she will say, "How much they buy this gobi the full?" And he does not know how is it. But when he touches the gobi the full, she knows that she is asking regarding the rate. So similarly, you will observe in Canada, people interact, even illiterate people who do not know English at all. They can convey their feelings by their gesture. So when a multicultural country, people from different cultural backgrounds, different languages, they come to contact with each other at a marketplace or at a workplace.
Then gestures
they emerge a new language.
Yes.
And in which the value of their gestures is very significant. And everybody knows what he is saying. He observes his face, he observes his action. That is why the music is said that music is a universal. And Punjabi people known for their Bhangra, Gidda, singing, Punjabi singing, and particularly Punjabi music. And there were some people who came from Germany, who came from other countries, and England. They are doing research on the Punjabi folk music. One of my students in doctoral degree, who was belonging to American University, Department of Ethnomusicology, he learned drum beating. He called a drummer from India. He lived with in America, learned the different types of drum beating. So then he done a research. So some of the distinct features of Punjab or Punjabi culture, who attract the other people? They are singing. That's the music. That is a
Bhangra. Bhangra and games.
So we should try to spread our culture, to being a messenger of our culture, those things which are liked by the other people also. One day, I was on a bank duty as a guard. A Gora, English people were coming to me. He looked at me and started English Punjabi song. Nare. And he was smiling. He has remembered some lines of Punjabi singing because they were.
No, we have to.
Punjabi music basically has some roots in the tribal culture.
You
know, the Bhangra, the Gidda, the
dances everywhere,
drum beating.
Whole culture.
The type of songs we have, especially attributed to Musewala, late Musewala, have all roots in the feudal culture. You know, it's a tribal and feudal both ways. You know?
And now
you will observe Michael Jackson on one hand and in a Bajigar tribe.
there's the
Bajigarniya. You will look their dances at one place at Michael Jackson, at other place
They have,
Bajigarniya. You will find certain things.
Things are common.
Because G.B. Plekhanov, who is a great scholar of Russia, who observed that those music instruments which were run by beating, so they are the oldest ones. So far the drum is in so many tribal cultures, and they have their own.
a harmonium has come from other country.
Have you observed even today so many African people visiting the house of Musewala
Yes, yes.
and breathing the death
Breathing.
of Musewala?
Oh, yes,
Why?
yes.
Because there is some connection. Because the beat of the drum
Beat-
is so attractive. And the way he sang,
Music has a common, it is everybody in this world is influenced by music. There is something inborn in us.
and Dr. Nahar Singh, you will be surprised to know that no Hindi film is complete without the Punjabi beat.
Punjabi beats are very popular in the matlab.
This is the reason.
In the Bollywood.
Now,
Sing along.
now we should. There is a certain things are there, certain concepts. One is of multiculturalism, and one is melting pot culture, which is we find in America. So, because in America there is no multiculturalism. This concept is only here. We have here in Canada only this thing kind of system is there. It gives rise to multiculturalism, allows every culture to maintain its different identity.
Yeah.
So what are the when we have to keep in view this thing. So what kind of attitude we should adopt? Firstly, I would say that we should for places where we work together with other cultures, people from other cultures, we should adopt the Canadian culture, the mainstream culture, and we should not just keep our own idiom, our own cultural things or practices there. We should not practice them there. Even language, we should try to.
I disagree with you,
But at family,
the basic essentials of a culture should be retained. I mean, wherever they are essential
When
for
they
the
are in
development
conflict.
and the growth of the community, they should be accepted.
when they are in conflict with the conflict with the people there, so we should at that time we should try to have remain close to central
Let me
multi
Let me.
mainstream.
Every culture has its cultural norms. Some norms and some prohibitions, taboos and totems. When we should protect that cultural values which gives us the human level to integrate the people. But when we come to a multicultural level, cultures, there are certain human values, certain human rights. They are common for the mankind. So specific cultural values have no conflict with general universal human values. So we should try to combine both these things, and accordingly we should change our behavior. But we should also have some honor for our culture, because in all the regions of the different cultural units, every culture treats itself as a great culture. But in culture there is no developed culture, there is no backward culture. Culture is a culture. It is always in relation to its history, in relation to its past, in relation to its geographical condition, in relation to its linguistic stock,
No, we should
in relation to its racial stock also. So when there is a intermixing, which as per Canada constitution, all cultures are equal, and they give chances to flourish the different cultures. But they know when the system in which this corporate world is shaping the world, they must have to come to a common point. So far the language is concerned, people speak English or French, and so accordingly they all have to
like in we are Punjabis, so we must our outer dress and this pug and this shirt and all these things, in these things we may observe our own special identity. But whereas this discussion is going on morality, on common issues which we face in life, so there we should not express our try to just force our values on those. Supposing there is a workplace or a project is owned by a Punjabis, so there English people also work. So there the owner should not just in case he happen to be a Punjabi owner, he should not impose his culture on them. So he should respect us. And the second thing is
referring to systemic discrimination, that should not be there.
That should not be there.
Should not
And
be
secondly, we
but
should
there are certain things like when a fish is being prepared, the person who did not like it, he will when smell the fish, he will hate it. He will not tolerate it. Similarly, when a person is taking that food which is not liked that
we should
like a
we should be careful not to.
So we should be very careful and respect the
Respect
food
other
habits
people.
and food flavors of different people.
And
So normally I have observed that so far the lunch break is there. Every Punjabi people will go with Punjabi and Chinese will Chinese and other. So their food flavors are almost
so
similar.
we should exchange our food items with them and they should exchange with us. So we normally we see that Punjabis mostly they are not conversing with English people, although they know English. They can speak English, but they are wary of talking or coming together with the English people. So this is not a good habit. We should try to invite them to our functions, main functions, and similarly we should join their functions.
Actually, it looks very interesting when in a Punjabi marriage there are some English
Some
people,
English people
are
also. They feel
and
very
they
good.
enjoy it.
They enjoy it.
Let me explain the phenomena as such. I have observed that the roots of the discussion goes back to new liberal policies which have been adopted. I mean, it's almost universally now adopted. So in the economic spheres, it's a free world, no restrictions, free trade, you can say. In the, word of, politics, it is, democracy, but of late it is moving from democracy to fascism, fascist regimes, for 42%, the latest figure is in the last 25 years, the movement has gone from 42% to 72%,
42 to
40% to 72%.
72 the country, the people who are ruled by some type of
some
dictator.
kind of dictators. No. So in the
New scenario.
in this scenario, there is no doubt that the central position is given to the Constitution, which says equality to all, no discrimination, and we give regard to all nationalities, sub-nationalities, and cultures. But when we work in that culture, we find that there is a dichotomy, there is a paradox.
Yeah, paradox.
This system says no, you have to shape up as per the economic situation of that culture and society. Whereas the Constitution says no, you are liberal, you can do whatever you like. So that kind of, and there is a bias in the Constitution at the same time. As we find in Canada, we see that bias in Indian Constitution also. Where there is a bias in favor of the center, in favor of the majority community. So same is the system here, because basically we got liberation from the Britishers who ruled here as well as in India. We are part of the Commonwealth countries. So that kind of situation is faced by all Punjabis when they come to this country.
Actually,
because they really get attracted when they learn that Constitution provides them all kinds of opportunities. There is no discrimination at the language level, at the gender level, at the workplace. But when he undergoes, he finds that he has to shape up. There has to be one nation. There has to be one language. There has to be one religion. As is happening here, it is happening in France. It is happening in India also.
India also, there is a minority.
And there is a systematic, crushing, or you pulverize that person, you crush that person to shape him to the new realities where he has landed.
It means the economic pulls and pressures on our cultures, they go for the unification,
universalism.
Then again, the majority people in a particular country compel the others to adopt that way of life. So either there is a hegemonic culture which eats away other small cultures.
Majority culture.
And a majority culture, hegemonic culture,
becomes
and culture having a huge resources financially and other way. They slowly and steadily are suppress
other marginal cultures.
And because we are living in a capitalist world, therefore they encourage individualism, consumerism. Individualism and consumerism. Because that helps indirectly the capitalist system.
It is a compulsion of a mass culture. Okay, mass production.
In mass culture, there is a mass culture. How it is different from elite culture? Mass culture gives emphasis on entertainment industry and on folk culture, on songs, on drama, and cinema, and all these things, games. So rather cheap kind of films, cheap kind of music, and cheap kind of all the other entertainment items.
Actually, in the for the last 30-40 years, when the corporate world emerged in a new liberal world, then the cultural areas, various cultures are emerging as a cultural industry. Cultural industry is that industry which grasps all the other things. And populism is the center in that. So far the eating habit is concerned, music is concerned, and other things are concerned.
We are
so even culture industry in itself will changing the
ultimately, knowingly or unknowingly, we are coming into the mainstream. We are losing so many threads, different distinctive threads, and we are going in for a uniformity, which every at every level it is
means after 50 years,
emphasized.
50 years, 100 years. There will be
new, but so far Punjabi language is concerned, so we can see that it is going on, and there is a common perception in most of the people speaking Punjabi. They speak Punjabi, and they are keeping this language alive. So I think, and some their recognition at government level also. There are in libraries we find Punjabi books in all the libraries,
but
and similarly in BC,
no reader for those books. Now you observed in Canada, Punjabi newspapers, which were a lot of number of
they are reduced
their
pages and numbers.
They find a few number of readers.
Oh, there were, when I came here in 2006, there were at least 20 weekly papers, Punjabi papers, and they were all printing editions they had. But now they only a few, two,
They
three.
have also reduced their paper. They had
Digital.
3 portion. Now they have 2 portion.
Digital, they have become non-printed digital editions, and printed editions only one is daily, and the others are 2 or 3 are weekly. So this is speaking of Ontario.
Sir, I have to add something. You know, if you study history, you'll find there are so many phases in the life of humankind. You know, sometimes the irrationally dominates. Sometimes the age of reason. Sometimes it's the age of culture industry. You know, sometimes it's the pendulum that swings from one side to the one extreme to the other. So what is required is, as a human being, that we have to observe, because everything, when it interacts with its opposites, it creates something new in a dialectical way. So the best course is to keep
We should be open-minded.
open-minded and see how the things dwell, because it's not that we should take everything in a negative way. Everything has its positives, you know. It's not that always we have to think negatively that we are going to lose the cultural identity of our
But they certainly
religion,
they
you
will
know.
And there is another thing also. We should not be backward looking. We should not always have a nostalgic feeling about that we have come from there. We should try to root ourselves.
Nostalgic feeling in itself is very consoling feeling.
Consoling, but they are consoling for a generation. For our generation, they are consoling.
Present challenges, we go to the past and take feeling from.
But the
same is true in the case of religion. You know, you might have seen that so many gurdwaras, mushrooming in every country, almost wherever the Sikhs are going.
Oh,
you know the reason.
The commercial reason. They are commercial also.
Is there insecurity? So the religion provides you the resort for all kinds of economic, difficulties you face in the society.
It is a rule of culturology. When a person feels insecure,
He goes,
first of all, he go to the shelter of religion.
The religion.
And after
That's
that,
the
he
answer.
goes to the shelter to the other thing. So first, when you will see, when British came, first the movements emerged in 1870
cultural movements.
in the last phase of the 19th century, religious renaissance movements, Sikh Sabha Lahar, Ahmadiyya Lahar, Arya Samaji Lahar, they take British as a challenge at their religious level first. Then they tried to protect themselves and by their purification of their own religions, and then interact with the British rule. So this is the same mechanism. This is a human nature. When you go to an alien culture, first you protect your religion, then your culture, then there are other forms of entertainment.
There are two kinds of life. One is our personal life. In personal life, religion is important. At home, when you come across with your family members and other members from the others of your own society, we go to the shelter of sheltering, obeying all the religious things, feelings. So spiritualism we call them. So, but when in our other than personal life, so it should not. You see that religion should not be the basis of government. It should not. State should not interfere in. In America, it is interfering in the state. But here it's not so much. But it is. We are coming to conclusion. So we can say that. We should try to imbibe certain essential features of Canadian culture also, but we should maintain our own cultural identity also. But it is very necessary for the for happiness and for the future. We should be secular in mind, respect other people, and come close to them, invite them.
We should take the things rationally.
So on this note of this cooperation and this
On this note, we conclude.
grace, we conclude.
Thank you.
Thank
so
you.
much.